Aloha and welcome to Future Scuba, a vlog where we honor the past and explore the future of diving, marine science, and ocean exploration. I'm Thane. I spent 23 years in the diving industry, working for PADI as a course director, instructor examiner, regional manager, and I own dive stores in Ohio and Hawaii. For the last 10 years, I've been a journalist covering sports on Hawaii's Big Island. I'm going to now combine my two passions to bring you unique, exciting, and relevant content. I know where we've been, and I'm interested to find out where we're going and how we're going to get there. One of the projects I'll be reporting on is PRINUL 50. The Puerto Rico International Undersea Laboratory and underwater habitat La Chalupa will be celebrating its 50th anniversary on November 18, 2022. I'll be researching the history of the program in advance of a planned reunion and celebration. My dad was the diving director for PRINUL, and I'm joined in this pursuit by Dava Olson, whose father was the science director. Join us now as we take a look inside the offices of Marine Resources Development Foundation and the PRINUL archives. The Marine Resources Development Foundation offices are located in Key Largo, along with Marine Lab, where the goal is to inspire marine conservation through education. We caught up with MRDF founder Ian Koblick, who invited us to explore the PRINUL La Chalupa archives. The archives are extensive and have been well maintained. Dave and I were excited to examine the pictures and documents as our fathers played prominent roles and were well represented. Scanning and cataloging the archives will be a significant project, but one which is sure to be rewarding. Unfortunately, some of the aquanauts represented in the archives are no longer with us. One loss was particularly painful as we had just made contact with Jaime Biaggi. Unfortunately, the follow-up came too late as he had passed before we were able to hear his story. We spoke with Ian about the important contributions Jaime Biaggi made to PRINUL and Marine Resources Development Foundation. Let's hear what he had to say. All right, welcome to Future Scuba. We're here with ocean exploration pioneer, founder of the Marine Resources Development Foundation and PRINUL, Ian Koblick. And Ian, we've got the PRINUL 50 project that I've kind of embarked on. Really want to kind of shine a light on the PRINUL and La Chalupa and tell the story. And we're going to get to that, but in the process, we've been contacting many of the aquanauts and past employees and so forth, and trying to get the stories from those people. And unfortunately, one of the key members of the project that we couldn't get to in time is Jaime Biaggi. And we just found out that Jimmy passed on the 19th of October. But as you've told me before, he's just incredibly important to the whole project, possibly not even happening if not for Jimmy's expertise and knowledge of Puerto Rico and the government, etc. Why don't you just talk a little bit about Jimmy's contribution to the project?
Well, he came on board, was sort of sent to me by one of the agencies as a biologist, thinking that we might need a biologist. Well, I discovered that he was such a key guy. He knew everybody, and if you didn't know him, he knew how to get to them in the government of Puerto Rico and in the community. And I had brought him in as a vice president of operations for Marine Resources. And he was with us until we left. And over the years, I've only talked to him a couple of times. Fortunately or unfortunately, I talked to him about 3 weeks ago. And he had a heart operation that had an infection, and they were taking him to the doctors.
My interaction with him was a little bit limited, but certainly saw him, from my perspective as a young child, a very charismatic person. You certainly knew that Jimmy was one of the leaders of the project.
I'll give you a couple of examples. When I made the deal with the governor, I said, and I want to have some Puerto Rican helpers, and I need to have some vehicles, and I want a couple of new station wagons, and I want a Toyota four-wheel drive. And I made this whole list. I gave it to Jimmy and said, get this stuff. We came back with luxury limousine, Ford, whatever their high-end Ford station wagons were, and a Toyota 4x4. Whatever I needed, Jimmy figured out a way to go and get it.
Now, what, in terms of the interaction with the Puerto Rican government, you know, did his degree in marine biology play a part, or was it just, you know, his connections within the government, or how did that work?
I think that his family connections, and his family was well respected and well known. His father, I think, was a professor at the university, if I believe it correctly, if I remember. And he just, and also we were sponsored by the governor, so that opened the door for anybody he didn't know. We never could have done the project in Puerto Rico. I mean, there's a language barrier, huge language barrier, because we didn't speak Spanish at all when we got there. In fact, one of the funny stories is that, you may remember this, is that when I first got there, I had about 12 trabajadores, workmen. And they came to help build the big building and so forth. And none of them spoke English, so I hired an English teacher to teach them English. Well, that lasted about 2 weeks, and I figured out that I better learn Spanish, because this was not going to work otherwise. So that's what I did. But Biaggi was the one that rounded up all these workers and kept them coming. Whenever there was a problem, it was Jimmy, or a social event, for instance. There are some photographs that you'll see with the governor's cabinet at the center, down at the site. You know, Biaggi put all that together.
Yeah.
So, it's a very sad day, really, when I heard.
Yeah. Well, too bad we aren't going to be able to get the story directly from Jimmy, but hopefully, you know, throughout the process we can talk to some family members and hopefully get some perspective from, you know, how he saw his interaction with the project and so forth. You know, so that I'm looking forward to that. It was great to catch up with Jan and reminisce about the La Chalupa and PRINUL, from the construction in Florida to the missions in Puerto Rico. It was an incredible project, and we can't wait to bring the story to you. Now, today, the La Chalupa is known as Jules Lodge and can be found in Key Largo, Florida, in the same compound as the Marine Resources Development Foundation offices and Marine Lab. The site is used for a number of activities, including some diver training. And most days you can see a variety of dive facilities down there, giving training from open water to Discover Scuba and beyond. We caught up with some instructors from Sailfish Scuba, as well as a couple of their Discover Scuba students. Let's hear what they had to say about diving in Jules Lagoon. All right, we're here with Mike and Dan from Sailfish Scuba in Key Largo, and they just got through introducing some first-timers to scuba in preparation for an afternoon boat dive. Hey guys, why do you like using the lagoon for the confined water portion of the Discover Scuba?
Actually, the lagoon is phenomenal for people that are fairly comfortable in the water, because I can do more depth-wise with them, take them from the beginning portion all the way through the depth portion better than in a 12-foot pool, and I can see how they clear better for Discover Scuba. As a training environment, it's really great because I can do everything but deep here for any class. Yeah. So Jules is by far one of the better training facilities available. You have different clarity levels sometimes, but you know, that's anywhere you go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you dive up north into quarries, you have no visibility, so we're generally better here.
So Dan, you know, as a dive master that's you know, going to be attending an IDC soon, you know, what do you see as far as the benefits of using the lagoon?
Some of the benefits of the lagoon I see is there's still some aquatic life to see as opposed to using a pool environment. They have some submerged objects, obviously the hotel, and so you get the experience of you know, seeing some life, seeing some artifacts, the wrecks, or the cannons, the anchors, and they get to experience that, so it just kind of builds them up rather than just a pool environment.
All right. Well, hey guys, thanks for spending some time with us. It looks like Jordan and Candace really ready to go. Looks like they're going to be an easy one, maybe this afternoon. Let's hope, and let's hope the weather and the animals cooperate. Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
thanks for spending some time.
Thank you.
I'll teach you the proper way. Otherwise, that's what teach you the Cool. All right. So, if whenever we all run out of here. No.
Okay, hey, we're here with Jordan and Candace from, where are you guys from?
I'm from Texas.
I'm from New York.
Texas and New York. All right. Well, they're here at the Jules Undersea Lodge and just completed the confined open water portion of their Discover Scuba Diving experience today. Hey, what did you guys think? Jordan, what did you think about it?
I personally thought it was amazing. I've never done anything like that. At first, I was scared to breathe underwater, but it was a lot easier than I thought it was. But yeah, the views underwater are impeccable.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too. Something I've never did, and we'll definitely keep doing it.
Yeah, I thought I heard something like that's the coolest thing I've ever done,
Yeah,
maybe?
I mean, I've
That's
never
pretty
saw
amazing.
something under the water that deep. It was really cool.
Now, you guys are going out on a boat dive later this afternoon?
Correct.
All right, so I think it's, it's safe to say that it's a nice experience to be able to get all the skills out of the way and have this kind of confined situation to get comfortable, right? So you had the platforms and were able to take some time. What did you think about the guys that took you through the program?
Perfect instruction.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
They were very clear with the instructions, and it made it super easy to get to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you think about the stuff you saw underwater?
That was pretty neat too. The underwater hotel.
Hotel in the water.
Now, you may not know this, but the underwater hotel in 1971 was an underwater habitat in Puerto Rico called the La Chalupa. And the reason I'm interviewing you is because my dad was the diving director. And so I'm writing a book about the history of that habitat and how it ended up here and so on and so forth.
The La
So,
Chalupa.
yeah, the La Chalupa. So you can follow on Instagram. It's at PRINUL 50, but I'll tag you guys. But hey, thanks for taking some time and talking to us about the Discover Scuba.
Appreciate it.
Well, that was fun catching up with Ian Koblick and visiting the Marine Resources Development Foundation complex and the Jules Lagoon featuring La Chalupa, the underwater habitat from the Puerto Rico International Undersea Laboratory. And if you want to support the PRINUL 50 project, you can do so in one way by picking up one of these t-shirts. This is essentially a replica of what the guys wore back in the early 70s when they were working on and living on the habitat, although it does have a cool design on the back. And that's a collaboration between myself and aquanaut Seppo Kolomainen. You can also pick up those designs on a mug. And those can be found at deeplydesigns.com on their We Care Deeply page. And some cool merchandise to represent a time in history where manned exploration of the sea was something that was ongoing and a regular activity. So support the PRINUL 50 project, pick up a shirt or a mug, and tune in next time for another episode of Future Scuba, where we honor the past, live in the present, and explore the future. Mahalo, much aloha.